Hey guys, it's David. So I'm here today with Scott as usual, but today we have two people subbing out, and we have Aidan and Aidan in for Jared and Chris. So we have Aidan Linehan, who's been writing here with us for a while, and we have Aidan Levine, who owns Hot Hockey, and he just started with us. So we have a good show for you guys planned. We just interviewed Andy Graziano in our last episode, so we're glad we can have some more new people on to talk the Islanders. So our first topic today is going to be the trade deadline and what you guys thought about that. So there was a lot of interesting thoughts about it. So Aidan Linehan, we're going to go to you first. How did you feel about the trade deadline and what Garth Snow did?
I felt not making a move is inexcusable this time around. I feel, you're in the heat of a playoff race. You got to get you're looking at your competition. It's getting better. You're not getting better. You got to add a piece. At least a piece. Maybe not a Matt Duchene, but a piece to put you over the top. Continue to compete. I mean, it's inexcusable to say the least.
Yeah, so I think that, Florida added Vanek. Toronto made a lot of moves. They added Boyle, they got Fair, they got a lot of people. So basically the teams that we're competing against made little improvements, which could push them over us. So I feel like we needed to do something to, keep us ahead with the pack. And I really would have liked Duchene, even though it was he was being a coward, as we keep saying, about how he didn't make any moves. But Duchene would have been preferable because that really would have pushed us to the playoffs, I feel like. But now that we didn't get Duchene, I mean, just anyone would have been good just to add a spark. Just like the weight firing changed the culture in the locker room. I feel like adding someone would have said that one person's losing their job in the lineup, so everyone would have been playing harder. And I just feel like adding someone would have been good. So, other Aidan, how do you feel about it?
I feel that Garth Snow he's very familiar with this Islanders team. And I would have liked an addition. But if he really thinks that we can pull together and prove that we can win without that key Tavares piece, which it really bums me out that Tavares isn't playing with someone that can really motivate him to play with us and re-sign. If we can keep our, skill set together, if we can, make good plays on the power play, which has been an issue throughout the season. Dogwait, what he's been doing has, like you said, turned the team around completely. And as long as we remember this Islanders team from the past 2 years, where we've made the playoffs and, we've really put on a show, if we can just remain what we've been and not let, the inability to get Duchene or Eberle, if we don't let it phase us, we can pull it off. We can make the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. So, Scott, I'm not sure if you want to say anything before we keep talking about this, but I know you have some stats and thoughts about this.
Yeah, it's not even really about the trade deadline. They'll come into play later in the podcast, but I have to somewhat disagree with a bunch of you guys saying that someone didn't lose their spot in the lineup when they should have. I may be being a wise guy here, but yeah, someone lost a spot in their lineup. You know who replaced him? Josh Ho-Sang. In an Islanders fan's mind, if he does well, we didn't win the trade deadline, but we improved on it.
Yeah, that's fair, but I mean, you look at the Duchene, you look at his price. Okay, it's a little bit out there. I think it was young forward, or not a young forward, a prospect, NHL ready young defenseman, and the pick, your number 1 overall pick, but then you look at other players that moved. Thomas Vanek, 3rd round pick. Dylan McIlrath, he did nothing. Drew Stafford, conditional 6th. Valtteri Filppula, I think. Mark Streit, a couple 4ths. Even Patrick Eaves, 2 weeks ago. He moved for a 2nd. He had 21 goals when he moved. So I think, there were other guys out there. I think he had to make a move. Ho-Sang is nice. Don't get me wrong. Ho-Sang is nice. But, I think I personally would have preferred to see maybe a more proven guy join the team. And it's disappointing he didn't. But you got to keep going. You got to keep fighting. You got to keep going out there and win some games. I mean, that's bottom line.
Well, if we start talking about Hosang, obviously, I'll tell you guys right now, we are recording this during the Islanders Blackhawks game on Friday night, March 3rd. If this will probably come out on Saturday, so just a little heads up. Also, just can I move on to the next topic, David?
No, I think I want to talk about the trade deadline a little more. But one thing I wanted to say was something that's very interesting. You got Garth Snow as our GM, who is this is scary to me. I don't really like him as a GM, as do a lot of people. And he didn't make a move in what was thought to be his possible last trade deadline as a Islanders GM. And he has Doug Wade as his assistant GM, who's the coach, which is really weird. And he has ownership who would fire him. And they gave him the green light, but he didn't do anything. So all these factors make it seem like Garth Snow's safe for this offseason, and that's scary to me. Garth Snow has made 2 good deals that have fallen in his lap. He got Boychuk and Letty. He made a pretty good deal with Griffin Reinhart. And arguably, you could say the Vanek deal was okay given the circumstances. But besides that, and drafting John Tavares, I don't think he's really done anything except make big mistakes, which losing all of our, losing Martin, Oposo, Nielsen, losing, a lot of players over the years, and really forcing the Islanders to not be a competitor for years. And the fact that he didn't make a move when all he would have had to do is what you're hearing. Andy said this on his Twitter, that it was mainly on the Avalanche side for why the deal wasn't done. But if maybe Snow could have said, I'll throw in another pick, or I'll throw in a low-level prospect, maybe that puts them over the edge and says, we're not going to get much more than this at the draft, so let's do it now. And I think that the fact that Snow didn't have any desperation to go out and get anyone besides Duchene really shows that he's safe, and that's scary to me. Garth Snow is not my favorite person, and I hope we have a new GM this offseason, even though it's not looking like that, if we don't make the playoffs, obviously.
Yeah, with Snow, I mean, you look at it, sometimes you got to feel a little bit bad. This guy had, he had a plan in the offseason. Stamkos, he viewed Stamkos as his prize, and he didn't get him, obviously. He re-signs with the Lightning 2 days before the market opens, but he has to keep going. He doesn't get Stamkos. I think Stamkos, if I'm not mistaken, re-signed about half an hour before Taylor Hall was sent to the Devils. So when you look at that, obviously this deal was in his lap, and I'm almost positive that summer, Edmonton called saying Taylor Hall for Hamnick right now. He said no. He obviously had this plan to get Stamkos. Stamkos then re-signs with the Lightning. It's time to act, because 2 days to negotiate with 3 UFAs is not enough. That's obvious. They all left. All money, and Andrew Ladd's your replacement. So, you look at it, it really is hard to feel bad, but, sometimes you gotta look at all the logistics, and, he has plans that don't work out, so.
Yeah, so I think the interesting thing with that is the Hamnick deal, Edmonton was drooling over Hamnick. They've wanted him for so many years, and you could look back in hindsight and say, Hall would have been really nice on this team, even though I think he's not doing too well points-wise, but he would have been a nice player besides Tavares. We all know that. But, the fact... Yeah, you can go.
I mean, Travis Zajac is centering him. John Tavares centering him makes that much more of a difference. So, I mean...
Definitely.
I'm not saying... I think his career high is 65 or 70 in a season. I think he hits that almost every year with Tavares on his side. Travis Zajac is, he's a defensive guy. He's a defenseman. He's a defensive center. So, it's just, it's hard. It's nice to dream, but you gotta hope he makes that trade. I mean, it fell in his lap.
Yeah, but interestingly, the Islanders are actually okay right now. I mean, if you said before the season, knowing that they lost their 3 players, and you said you could be in the last wildcard spot with 15 games to play. I don't really know. 15 games, 20 games to play. You'd take that, I think. I'd take that. I wrote in my season predictions article that they would come in the last wild card spot, even though I was very convinced they wouldn't do well, and I just wanted to put them there because I wanted to give them some love, I guess. But I really think that the way they're doing, you just have to look at the future and not the past, which is really hard to do. I mean, we've been talking about the past for the last 10 minutes, but because Garth Snow has made a lot of mistakes. But the fact of the matter is, we're in an okay spot right now, and the deadline would have helped. But even without the deadline, we're in the second wildcard spot, and if you win the majority of your games the rest of the year, you are in the playoffs. You are playing a Capitals team that is terrible in the playoffs, that has not done well against the Islanders this year, that we've had their numbers. So anything can happen. So you just got to look at the future and really just pray at this point that we make the playoffs and can do something with the roster that we have.
Right, and crazier things have happened in April. I'm not trying to say the Islanders are going to win a cup, but you look at the Kings in 2012. They were the 8th seed. I'm pretty sure they dominated on their way to the cup, and then they trounced the Devils in 6. So anything can happen, and as long as you get there.
Yeah. So Scott, you can move on to our next topic. I guess I think we're done with the trade deadline.
Before I move on to our next topic, which is evidently last night Joshua Ho-Sang making his NHL debut and his spectacular play, I would say. Just a little fun fact, Matt Martin is playing a career low in minutes this year, time on ice per game, with 8 minutes and 46 seconds. That's over 2 minutes less than he played last year.
Interesting. But still, I think he's more of an Islanders player. He's not really.
He's not a Brian Boyle, Ben Smith centering the fourth line with like Josh Levo or Nikita Shoshnikov on the right wing. He's not that type of player. He's a Casey Cizikas, Cal Clutterbuck type of player.
Yeah.
Fair.
So if you want to move on to our next one with Ho-Sang.
As the guy who runs All Sound Tigers and a big Sound Tigers follower, I'm very familiar with Josh Ho-Sang's play this year, and I have to say he was struggling in the AHL, so was Dal Cole, but they both broke out. Ho-Sang more than Dal Cole, and following last night, I have to say I am very impressed with his first game. I don't know about you guys. I know David says that there were a couple turnovers from him last night, which weren't counted as turnovers. But overall, I think he did well. What do you guys think about it?
I mean, he doesn't have the stats to show it, but 23 shifts, 17 minutes on the ice, 2 shots. I mean, it can go better, but it's not like there was any, at least to me, any standout issues with his play, and obviously he can only get better from here. So, impressive enough debut. I believe Doug Waite said he was impressed. So, I mean, you get back out there, keep skating, keep fighting, and he'll get that goal eventually, and hopefully help the Islanders keep on winning. So.
Yeah, definitely. So I actually think that I don't know why, but I missed the first 2 periods, but I saw the third, and for some reason I thought he turned the puck over a lot. I must have just confused him with the other black guy out on the ice. That's a joke. There were none other. But that
Johnny O'Dea is not there anymore. We're playing him tonight.
Podcast. Okay, that's actually not racist. That's kind of a fact. But whatever. So I thought he turned it over. For some reason, I was wrong. I was told that he did not turn it over. So that was really my only complaint, and that was a stupid complaint because it was inaccurate. So to be honest, he looked really well. He played really well, and I really think he could be. Is he better than a Verbata? Is he better than a Vanek? Even though he probably wouldn't have wanted to come to Brooklyn. I don't know. Probably not. But I think he's going to be okay for our team. I think he'll provide a little bit of a spark, and he's fast, he's young. I think he'll do fine. I'm interested to see how he plays tonight.
Well, on the line with Nelson and Ladd, he has a bit of experience on the left. He has a experienced enough center, so I think he has pretty good guidance with the team. I think He has all the tools. Just go out there and score a little bit. So hopefully, I mean, you never know. Let's hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean,
Aidan, Levine, do you
like
want to speak?
talking about like redeem Verbata, Ho-Sang is still on his ELC and he has 3 years left. Verbata would have cost like a first-round pick and a second-round pick, and he has. I mean, he's in his last year, I believe. So, I think like if you weigh like Ho-Sang versus Duchene, I think you're gonna go with Duchene every time. But honestly, I think if you're weighing Verbata versus Ho-Sang, you go with Ho-Sang. It won't cost you the picks, and you just call him up and he can. He might have as great a spark, if not a better one. So
I'm not sure.
We'll see.
I'm not sure if Verbata would have cost a first and second, probably more of a second. But he didn't really want to leave Arizona, which was kind of weird. So I don't know if he's the target the Islanders should have focused for. I'm still fed up over Duchene. I wanted him really, really bad. I had my jersey picked out online, and I really wanted him. But we couldn't get him, so that's unfortunate. So Ho-Sang will have to do. And I hope he does well. So
Just
Scott,
to note, Verbata's contract also involved every playoff round your team enters. Like, say he was traded to the Islanders and they make the first round. Boom, $250,000 in playoff bonuses. Move to the second round. Boom, $250,000 in playoff bonuses. And that's why teams backed out on him at the last moment. And also now with a guy like Hansel out and a guy like Ryan White out, he's more of like a veteran leader on that team. It's like him and Doan and Goligoski. OEL is young. You can't really call him a veteran leader.
Yeah, definitely. So,
of course.
Levine, sorry, I said that wrong. If you want to add anything on this, you can.
I think an important factor of Ho-Sang coming up and playing for us is, the confidence he has. And, you see his highlights in the AHL and his junior league. Yeah, he's done some obnoxious celebrations, but maybe that's something this team hasn't seen. I don't think in their franchise it's really been a serious locker room, a serious coaching staff. But if you see someone like that, it really brings the team to life. If he scores a goal, has a loud celebration, he can kind of get in the other team's head. That's something the Islanders could really use.
Yeah, so on that note, I work at a supermarket and I had a job meeting with the CEO and everyone, and they were like, one of the things you need to work on is more spice. So if a supermarket needs to work on more spice, I think a hockey team could use some spice. I really think that they could use some, we have no one who's fun.
Yeah.
The Snapchat people follow Johnny Boychuk around, and he gives them a stone face, he pushes them away. I don't know, nothing against Johnny Boychuk, but we just have no one who's fun. I mean, I'm glad that we have someone who's, hopefully could celebrate and show his emotions a little more than some of the players do. I know he shows a blade a lot.
Come on.
That kind of sucks. But I don't really know what was up with that. I hope that's just him being a kid. But, yeah, I don't know.
Well, only time will tell. Get back out there.
Yeah. So one more thing. One more
got
thing
you.
on Ho-Sang. I got a little another story. I'm not sure if this is appropriate to talk about, but I think it is. So this is a year ago, and he showed up late, and I was on Instagram commenting he showed up late. He sucks. Blah blah blah. The classic 14-year-old. I guess at the time it was 2 years ago. 15-year-old heckling, and some random guy with the last name Sang DM'd me, and he was like, "Stop abusing my nephew." I was like, "Are you actually Joshua Sang's uncle?" And he was like, "Yeah, I swear. What's your phone number? He'll call you." And I was like I thought it was fake, but it got really deep and personal to be fake. So I'm hoping that was fake by some fake account, but I'm not really sure what that was about. So that's just another thing of some fake person or Ho-Sang's uncle, who knows, being fun. So I think the Islanders just did something. So Scott,
Boychuk just limped off the ice, not putting power on his left leg. Tavares was stopped on a shorthanded breakaway, and it's still 0-0 with about 9 minutes left in the first.
Yeah, Johnny Boychuk takes a shot from Brent Seabrook. He blocks it. He's off now. And
how bad was it?
He went down on the ice a little bit. He got up. He started skating over. Had like a little hop in his leg.
Then you never know. You saw what happened to McDavid and his injury. He looked like maybe a game at most.
Right, and then you look at Anders Lee last year in April against the Rangers. He takes the shot from Boychuk off the leg. He's kept skating. He actually was out there for a couple more shifts, and then he leaves and he has a broken leg. And
these hockey players are tough. But honestly, losing Boychuk, if there's like 3 players you tell me you will never lose this season, Boychuk's probably up there. I think he's our number 1 defenseman. Letty has been okay recently, I guess. He's been good recently. But I feel like Boychuk's been amazing this year. Like, he's really carried this team physically, and he's scored, and he's, good possession numbers this year. I mean, I guess Tavares, Lee, and Boychuk would be my 3 players that I really wouldn't want to lose. They're really important. So I pray that Boychuk is he's good because he's important.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think we'll move on to our next topic now.
Okay. So
Scott, you want to move us on, or should
I think this was the order we went in, but obviously I have a lot of stats on this topic, so I'm really ready to dive in here. Tonight is Doug Waite's 21st game as head coach of the New York Islanders. It felt like yesterday when Cappy got fired. But also, tonight is Travis Hamonick's first game being head coach Doug Waite. So, that's another thing. So, I just want to bring up a couple stats that I found skirming around between how Hamonick came in tonight and his presence with Letty, and Hickey being a healthy scratch tonight, and the first line. I'll bleed through this very quickly. Okay. So, let's start with Thomas Hickey. Obviously, healthy scratch tonight. We're all a little shocked. But, Thomas Hickey, according to Corsica Hockey, which I believe is what Corsi's based off of, in the last 3 years, in 203 games, he's taken 401 hits. That is the second most out of any New York Islander. So he's been getting the workload on him. He has those minor injuries. I think he's got on the IR twice since he's become an Islander. So he's been a durable guy. It's just that when he gets hurt, he gets hurt. And
yeah, so with a hit comes a turnover, and I think that's an interesting stat. I really like how it shows that he's getting into dirty areas, because it's not like defensemen are dumping pucks in and chasing it. They're just, I mean, I guess if the other team dumps it, they're the ones chasing it, but they're not the ones going after it and hitting. So I guess that comment was wrong, but now that I say it out, but he gets hit a lot, which is interesting because that shows that he's getting himself into some sticky situations, but there aren't very memorable plays where I can think like Hickey turned it over, cost us a goal. Like, I could think of Bailey doing that. I can think of Ryan Straight doing that last year. But Hickey seems like he's just a quiet player, and I'm a little scared that we'll lose him in the expansion draft next year with McPhee knowing him. And I heard a rumor from a source that I forget that someone's saying that Hickey could be the captain of Vegas next year, just with Capuano possibly being the coach, the GM being an Islander, Hickey getting claimed. He was the captain of the World Juniors with Crosby, Tavares. I think, on that team, or Tavares, I forget. But that's Tavares. But that's pretty interesting how his leadership. So Hickey's an interesting player. I don't think he deserved to be scratched over Pelech, but Waite does his thing. He likes his young defensemen, and yeah, Hickey got the short end of the stick.
We'll just talk about Hickey turnover that I think was noticeable. Game 3 of the second round last year in overtime, he takes a hit from Brian Boyle. He's slow to get up. and Boyle is left unmarked. He takes a rebound off the boards and he finishes the overtime off. Probably should have been a penalty. Wasn't called, but it's a shame. Right, yeah.
That was
my cable was out for that.
That was the same day as the Jonathan Drouin hit, because everyone was like, "Oh, it's retaliation after Drouin got basically killed by Hickey."
But the difference is the Boyle hit was not clean. The Hickey hit was clean. But I think when you look at signature Thomas Hickey moments, I think you look at Game 3 of the first round against Florida. I think you look at him sending the Islanders to the playoffs, and I think you look at the Drouin hit because can't really think of much more.
Basically every overtime ever, Hickey has scored.
Yeah.
He has I think it's 6 out of his 18 goals are OT winners, which is insane. So, he's an interesting player.
Yeah, so
he can really give you anything any night.
Just take the rest of this through quick. Doug Weight, 13-5-2 in his 20-game tenure. Hamonic. When Hamonic went down, he was a -14 and Leddy was a -12. Since Hamonic went down, Leddy is a +10. So he was once a positive player. Then the 7-0 game happened. And another quick thing. Since Wade, Bailey has 15 points, Tavares 21, and Lee 17. So let's just scoot it on over to the next topic, which I think David would like to bring up.
Yeah, so this one kind of relates to the other one. It's kind of about weight, and I think you just listed some stats that really show that Wade's been good, but unfortunately, when this happened, I wasn't really in favor. When this happened, I mean Capuano getting fired. Should have specified that. When Capuano was fired, I didn't like it just because I feel like it wasn't his fault. I feel like it's Snow's fault. But it was the good move. I mean, Wade, they played amazing under Wade, and we were one of the last teams in the league under Capuano. So I guess I'll go to Aidan Levine first. How do you feel about the Capuano firing, looking back at it in hindsight? And do you think it was the good move, even if he is the coach of Vegas next year?
In Boston, I saw Capuano's last game, and the Islanders were really connecting. They won 4-0. Grice had a great game, and it was good to see that Capuano left on that game instead of a bad loss. But
yeah, definitely.
A coach firing, and there have been a lot throughout the league, and they've all benefited their teams, I'm pretty sure. I think Florida, they were edging closer to a spot when their coach got fired. It woke up the locker room. It was, a really major change, and Capuano's been coaching for a while, and it was a huge difference, and the players realized that they're in a situation where they either make the playoffs or they don't, and if they do make the playoffs, it's gonna require a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work, and a new coach that has been standing behind Capuano, observing how we've been playing, really understands the team. I think it was a good decision.
Okay, so someone's going to the bathroom right now, it sounds like. But, I guess that's funny. That's never happened, but that's pretty funny.
Pardon me, David. Just a little update on Johnny Boyd. No, it wasn't me, but pardon me.
Okay.
Just a little update on Johnny Boychuk. He's on the bench. He's fine. He's just taking a little bit of a breather. He'll get right back out there, according to
it's a relief.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. I'm not watching the game, so you guys made that sound pretty bad, but they're all tough, so hopefully it's okay. But back to Capuano and Weight. I don't even remember what I was saying about Weight. I guess Weight has been the guy that they need. He's a player, and they really respond to knowing that he was on the ice and he went through what they went through. Cap was kind of just like just a normal guy that he wore his crazy suits, he had his crazy hair, and he just seemed like he kind of quietly told him, you go on the ice, or
You know,
hard.
he said
He
hard
got
work a lot.
hard
Like, he
work.
didn't really have anything.
Hard work.
Hard. Sorry.
Yeah, puck luck.
Hard puck luck. But he didn't really do anything. Did he ever yell at them or do anything? I don't know. It seems like they didn't.
He was
respond
only
to him.
mad when there was no goal on the ice called. That's when you'd see him scream.
Yeah, but he just kind of seemed like he did his thing quietly, and I don't know. I think the Islanders got fed up with it. They weren't responding to him. He lost the locker room, and Wade's been great. He made them skate for like 45 minutes. I forget if Andy or Arthur Staples said this, but an hour of hard skating after the Columbus game, and they responded with a great game in Dallas. Here's something interesting. I was just going to say Greiss was the only one who maybe didn't have the best game in Dallas. Does he have to do the hard skating too?
Yeah. But
so he does it in
he
pads.
does it in pads. Yes, he does do it in pads.
That sucks. So maybe the goalie should get a rest on that because he seemed pretty tired. I don't know.
I mean, he's done it before.
I don't know.
Greiss has been under hard coaches.
It doesn't really make sense.
In Pittsburgh, in San Jose, in Arizona, I believe he was there for a little bit. He's had some hard coaches to play under, and Doug Waits just adding to that factor. And since I started talking, since I hopped in, I might as well say, if anyone remembers, following the Capuano firing, it was said that Ledecky, Malkin, and Snow all told Capuano following the game prior to Boston, no matter what the outcome of the Boston Bruins game is, you're out after that game. We're giving you one last hurrah. They won that game, and since then, they've been surging up the standings. They're in the second wildcard spot right now. We're rooting for the Anaheim Ducks tonight because they're playing the Leafs. Now, David.
Yeah, and if is true about how, they told him he was gone, and he was. Here's something really interesting. The Islanders seem to respond to change. They seem to respond to new scenarios and things. They responded to a new coach. They respond to Hosang, hopefully. Here's one thing. If you were Capuano's shoes and you figured that was your last game, do you feel like he told the players that it was his last game and he told them, get me a win, and they responded? Or do you think he just kept that quiet? Because I feel like if I were him, I'd tell them. But I don't know. We are obviously not in the locker room. But I feel like, do you think he would have told them? If he knew it was his last game?
I do think that he would have told them because, I think they were struggling going into that game, if I'm not mistaken. And then they come out, they win 4-0. Greiss pitches the shutout, I think that the players realized that they didn't give it their all. And then they went out and they won 4-0. So for sure, I think that he definitely at least told them that he was going to go, and he wanted a full effort, and so.
I think that would maybe phase the players a little bit. They'd be, a little shaken up. It could affect their play. If I was in his shoes, that I would, kind of keep it quiet, give a real shake to the locker room, make it happen at an unexpected time after a 4-0 win, saying you got to do this more often. It can't just be once every 5 games. It has to be 3 times in like 5 games. It's got to be consistent, and consistency has been an issue.
Yeah. So I don't know if you. Topic in mind.
One thing before we switch over to the next topic. Wait, give me a second. I'm just trying to figure out what I was going to say. Oh yeah, I never put in my my thought on the idea of him saying it or not. I don't think he should have said it either but I don't think he should have come out with it and said, "Hey, you played great, you played hard, you played smart. Oh, by the way, I got fired." Okay.
That would suck. Like that would be unfortunate.
David?
But I actually I remembered the next topic. If you wanna, I'll just say it because I remembered it. Aidan Levine, you wanted to talk about jerseys. You have an interest in that. So we had Andy on last time, and he said a lot about the jerseys and how he seemed pretty bummed out about it. I agree. I think losing the third jersey, while it was annoying at first, it really grew on us. So how do you feel about the jersey agreement, and how do you feel about the state of jerseys in the league?
I like Adidas. I think, that they're a huge company, and now they're putting their foot in the hockey world, making the jerseys for the NHL. The removal of the alternate jersey, for our sake, not a lot of people like the black jersey. A lot of people do, though. And now that it's gone, I don't know what's going to happen with the shop, if they're going to stop selling it. Or if Islanders are going to ever have those nights where, like Arizona does, where they'd wear their alternate like 2 times a year.
The ruling
sure if they're
under
allowed to do that,
Adidas is
they
starting next year. Teams have to declare a home and away jersey. I know the Oilers, they had their orange jerseys, the regular orange jerseys. They have decided to dive away from those starting next year, and the dark blue alternates, they are declaring those as their home jersey starting next year. And as they go along into the 10-year, I don't know if Adidas is planning on bringing back alternates, but I believe they're slowing the process in. I know there's one team that is getting a full rebrand on Adidas. So, good luck to the Devils on their Adidas jersey rebrand. No, they did not. They did not.
I think that might.
I think they backed out of it. I think they
backed
out of it.
Yeah.
I think you're wrong on this, dude. I think they that was a rumor, and I think they addressed a false rumor, and they said they're sticking with their old ones. I'm not sure, though. I remember talking to someone, and they sent me that, and then a few hours later, they actually said, no, that was fake. I'm glad they're sticking with it. I may be wrong, though, but I feel like that's fake.
No
So
no
about
changes.
The current
no changes.
Islanders jerseys.
Sorry.
Scott. Jeez.
Sorry.
The orange lettering from the last regular season game at the Nassau Coliseum. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Because I think I wouldn't mind seeing that as the Islanders' new home jersey.
Here's the problem with that. Brooklyn thinks that Nassau Coliseum is literally like the abyss in terms of just they do not want anything history related. They don't even want to have they didn't even want to have the banners up at first, and
or the goal
horn. And due to this breakup that's happening, I feel like Barclays Center is going to have an unmotivated sales staff. I feel like they're going to have an unmotivated marketing staff. I feel like they're going to have an unmotivated development as in jerseys and new ideas for the stadium. And I think that they're going to stick with the same exact jerseys. I think they're not going to do anything new with the orange lettering. And I think they're going to really set their alarms and count down the day that the Islanders are gone, which is unfortunate. But I think that has a lot to do with potential changes in the Islanders uniform, because I feel like with Barclays in charge and Yormak still calling the shots up there, I think that I don't think there's any changes, and I don't think we're getting the orange lettering.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, they just I don't think they like the jerseys. You're right, due to the fact that they just hate the history. I don't know why, because they already lost part of the fan base there, and then obviously we spoke with Andy last time. We're talking about how some of the fan base would be lost if they moved to Hartford. Obviously, check out the podcast last week or the last time that happened. Also, obviously, I guess we're going to end it off here. Let me do my little spiel, and then I'll send it over to David. Check out the new stuff on allislanders.com, the memorabilia store. We have tons of stuff up for sale. New articles coming up a couple times a week in the future. We need to pump up the availability of writers. And David, shoot it off to you.
So, not sure if either of you guys want to add anything. We really appreciate you guys coming on and filling in for our two absentees, Chris and Jared. And it was really fun today. And I just want to say we are picking the winner of the All Islanders Edit contest this weekend. We have a contestant on the show right now, so we don't want to have any bias because we've gotten actually a few amount of DMs and comments about there being a bias, which honestly it's just a little contest, not any bias intended. But I was surprised about that. But we're picking the winner for that. We have new articles coming out, as Scott said. And with that, I just want to thank you guys for listening. We are trying to get some more new guests on for you, similar to Graziano, with some special cool guests that will really have hopefully insight into the Islanders locker room. And with that, I think I'm going to thank you guys for listening.
See you on episode 5.
So thank you so much.